The blessed art of sharing your riches. Wealth that is shared creates more wealth. And you can share many forms of wealth besides money. Today's millionaires themselves point out that anyone can become a millionaire because today's wealth is so widespread and gives rise to so many opportunities. When you share in your own home, you create a basic harmony which adds to your success and peace of mind in everything you do. Start now to share what you have, and when you have plenty of money, you will share your money, the more wisely and with greater benefit. You are going to make money. If you do not allow negative points of view to trip you up, you will march straight forward on the road to riches. Yes, you are going to make money in solid sums, money that comes to you through your own worthy efforts, money you spend for your own worthy desires, money you spend in helping others. Will you build your character while you build your fortune? This, as by now you know, is not exactly another matter. There is a strong connection between the power to make money and the power to know your own mind and fulfill your own self as a fully realized person. Again, we shall examine a technique that goes with being rich and having invincible peace of mind. So far as sharing money is concerned, you may see this technique as belonging to your future. So far as sharing other forms of wealth is concerned, this technique is yours right now. Use it and make it part of you. Life proceeds according to the great law of compensation. The more you give of what you have, the more comes back to you, and it comes back greatly multiplied. Now, before I continue, Kybalion Hermeticism has that literally same exact line, the law of compensation. We've talked about this outside of this book. This is why I love Napoleon Hill and his take on finances. It's so rooted in the esoteric, as it should be. As of so below, all laws operate on all planes. Why not use these laws to master the material realm as we master the psyche and the mental and the spiritual realms, right? Law of compensation. We know law of compensation. Does someone want to define the law of compensation as per the law of rhythm? Technically, it's the law of rhythm, and as a subset of that, there is the quote-unquote law of compensation. I would like, how about one of you guys define it for me? I'll keep going. And one of you guys define it for the rest of the squad. Where are we? Give me a second. Wealth creates wealth. A large sum of money in the hands of one man generally does not create as much wealth as does money which circulates, provided that those who handle its circulation are interested in actually creating wealth. A man's happiness and peace of mind depend on his sharing all kinds of wealth. Business relations cannot properly be described as a relationship of love between buyer and seller, yet when the idea of service to one's fellow men comes into the relationship, much that is profitable to both parties also enters in. A little bit of myself, said Henry Ford, goes into every automobile that rolls off our assembly lines, and I think of every automobile we sell not in terms of the profit it yields us, but in terms of the useful service it may render the purchaser. In the past years, we had our own era of those industrial pirates who never thought of sharing with their employees the wealth their employees helped to create. While they made a great show of their money in New York, Newport, or Palm Beach, those men would have sneered at the idea that a society needs a large number of well-paid people who are able to buy more goods and lead better lives. Millionaires are far more numerous today, and even more so today, not when this book was written. More than 5,000 new millionaires have so declared themselves on their tax returns in the last decade. Also, as I have mentioned, today's millionaires do not seem to want the notice that rich men used to require. Most of my readers will not recognize the names of some of the present-day millionaires and multi-millionaires, we'll say billionaires in today's age, nor do today's moneyed men seem anxious to form a definite class to which the poor may not aspire. I quote Arthur Dezio, who made so much money in building and selling mobile homes. It's easier to get ahead than it was 15 or 40 years ago. Look at the population growth and the tremendous rise in personal income. This country is just loaded with opportunities. So it is, and many of the opportunities would not exist if wealth were not better distributed than it used to be. Employers have seen the value to themselves, to their people, and to society of taking workers into partnership with industry. A capitalist society proves over and over that it is the best way to create maximum widespread wealth. Now, with that last line, I know I'm going to get a lot of kickback. I used to give a lot of kickback. He just praised capitalism, and there has less praise for capitalism than ever. But hear me out on this. I'm gonna there's a key line that he said. I'm gonna back up capitalism right now, and I'm gonna start by a line that we just read right now. Napoleon Hill says, should I find it? It might be hard to find. I don't want to take up too much time looking for it. Wealth creates wealth. Okay, it says, a large sum of money in the hands of one man generally does not create as much wealth as does money which circulates. So that's the first kicker. Provided that those who handle its circulation are interested in creating wealth. Our society seems to be run by people not interested in creating wealth, but in hoarding wealth. But it circulates, it does. Okay, so with that thought in mind, I'm going to look towards nature. Did you know that resources in the natural world tend to end up in a very small percentage of individuals, entities, beings, organisms? And we'll look at a forest. If you look at something like the Sequoia National Forest, or any forest, the trees make up about 5% of the individual organisms in a forest. I'm talking the redwoods and the pine trees, the sycamore, the cedar, your big trees, make up only about 5% of the overall organisms of the forest. However, they capture about 80% of the sunlight that comes in. They absorb about 80% of the water that hits the ground. They absorb about 80% of the nutrients that are in the ground and in the air. Resources tend to accumulate in a small portion. That's just the nature of things. On my YouTube channel, my Bible book, my Corpus Hermeticum has acquired 2,000 subscribers. I only have 18,000 subscribers on this channel. 2,000 of those, 218, 2 goes into 8. What? 2, 8, 9, 1/9. What is that? Am I doing the math right? Anywho, 2,000 subscribers came from one of my videos. I have like 700 videos on this channel, but it gets, in other words, the hours watched, the views, the money, the subscribers brought in are all coming from about 90% of that are all coming from about 3 or 4 of my videos. There is just a tendency, and I'm sure if you look at it's a weird law of the universe, right? As above, so below. That is even if you look at communism. Sure, it may sound great because everyone's sort of, we want to distribute money, but is the money distributed evenly with Fidel Castro in Cuba? Absolutely not. His family is loaded. Wealth coagulates somewhere. And you want to call the system communism, capitalism, or any derivative thereof, and any of those systems, money is accumulating somewhere and in at large quantities. The question is, who are we going to allow for that wealth to accumulate? In the forest, it accumulates in the trees. But the trees are creating oxygen. They're creating habitat for the organisms. Yeah, the redwoods may 90% of the resources in their ecosystem, but only represent 5% of the only overall population. Look what they're providing. They drop hundreds of thousands of pounds of branches and leaf litter onto the floor, which turns into compost, which increases the microbial life, which increases the fertility of the soil, which means more plants can grow, which means more animals and birds can come and live, which means so they support yes, they consume the majority of the resources, even though there's only a few of them, but they also sustain the ecosystem itself. So that's just a tidbit I thought I would throw in because it is noteworthy, right? Trust me, I went to school for oh my God, I was going to say sustainable science, not sustainable science, environmental science and sustainability and the philosophy and science in San Francisco of all places. Doesn't get more liberal, communist, pro-environment than that is what my point is. But I still see patterns and I still recognize what's going on in the world and sort of not throw out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. Sharing wealth in your own home. 7 positive motives: our sex, our relationships. Everyone has something to share and gains by sharing it. Sharing wealth in your own home. Men who are successful in living generally maintain love and sharing in their own homes. When couples do not share, other troubles arise. When a man shows he is willing to share, a woman is eager to share with him. 3 basic motives: love, sex, money. Love, sex, money are said practically to rule the world. And this can be seen in many cases. No part of your life can be lived separately from the other parts. Everyone has something to share. You can share knowledge, you can share love and kindness, no matter how poor you are. Almost anyone can share in 3 areas which offer themselves over and over. You can share your special skills or your knowledge. You can share by filling a gap when you see one. You can share recognition and appreciation of others and the work they do. The idea is that giving generates receiving. How can it not? This is the law of compensation. How can you give and not get something in return? In other words, there's a musician in my squad, in my circle. There's a keyboard player in our musical circle around this town, and he plays for free. But he's smart, because now when I need a keyboard player, I normally don't, but when I have the budget for it, I'll pay him. Like, hey man, I need a keyboard player. Like, I'll pay you, because he's given himself. He's put himself out there so much. He's giving. Now when everyone needs, now he's a regularly booked keyboard player around town. He's booked 2-3 times a week, because he offered his skills for free for so long. He gave for so much for so long that he built connections. He networked. Now people have seen him. Now people hit me up. Hey Keith, who was that keyboard player that was playing with you? Is he available? Oh yeah, his name's E-Man. I'll shoot you his number. Now he's getting gigs. Now people see him playing. Now when someone needs a full-time keyboard player, they see him playing. Oh damn, he's playing with Keith. Oh damn, he's playing with Maury and the Heavy Hitters. Oh damn, he's playing with Jacob and the Good Vibes. Dope. You got that guy's number? Is he available? We can always give. Giving is receiving. And how it unfolds, the nuance in which it unfolds, is different in every situation. Who knows? It might not be money. It might be help. It might be a piece of knowledge. You might be giving so much that someone gives you back a piece of knowledge or a piece of advice that changes your life. Or they might introduce you to someone that changes your life. All this, what you're doing is you're, again, manipulating your subconscious energy field. You're manipulating your frequency so that you can think different thoughts, have different actions, have different conversations. You're moved by a different tone. Have you guys ever seen Donnie Darko, where that little, like, you can tell the future based on how things are, right? Cause and effect, basic. But it's basic cause and effect stuff. But what you're telling is a probability of the future. If things stay as they are right now, the probability of your future looking like this is really high. It's kind of tell the future. So we can tell the future based on our thoughts. Our prevailing thoughts will tell us where we're headed. Our prevailing emotions and our prevailing notions on the world will tell us where we're going. If your inner dialogue is mostly negative, mostly scared, fearful, it's mostly melancholy, then you know damn well where you're going to end up. This is the alchemist. This is why we study esoteric philosophies and esoteric thought. This is why we study these things, so that we can tell the future, not in an abstract way, but a very real, a very practical way. So tell your own future, and do it soon. Do not linger. Share the wealth. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it.